Well, I mean, your lungs burn like they've never burned before. You know, your legs hurt. You know, there's time, just this, I remember at a moment I was just like, this is just, to stay in the position, the discipline to keep your legs plied in a certain way, to push off in the right way, like, to do that, there are times when my body was screaming, you know what I mean? And like, in ways you're not used to, you know? And in those moments, that's the beauty of acting. You know, you go, what would it cost to go through this? What are you trying to get to allow yourself to endure this? If the answer is freedom, and if the answer is happiness, you know what I mean, that body will hold up.
For me, directing was something that I guess I didn't think was possible until, you know, working with Ryan Coogler. I think the first time I stepped on set for Fruitvale Station and, you know, seeing a young, you know, black man, you know, from similar places directing a feature film, I saw myself in him. You know, I was like, okay, if he can do it, you know, I can do it. And he told me, hey, look, Mike, there's no right time for this. You know, you've been on set, you know, your entire life. So, you know, when you find something that speaks to you, just jump for it and go for it.
I think there's so many things that make this next chapter unique. I think first and foremost, Mike directing is a tremendous thing in the context of our films. We've done so much work to sort of build these characters and their journey and so much growth, I think, you know, between all of us collaborators. And so for him to step in to the directing chair for this one, I think makes it really special.
What's really great about Mike in directing this particular project for his first big project is he's so familiar with the characters, all of them. And he helped create this universe, this world. And so he has a lot of good ideas, a lot of strong ideas as an actor and as a director.
So the story of Creed 3 is we pick up with Adonis after he has decided to retire from boxing. He is at the pinnacle of his career, he is at the pinnacle of his marriage and his professional life, and he is trying to figure out what that means and what his responsibilities are moving forward. And into that moment of his life, an old friend, this guy, Damian Anderson, who's played by Jonathan Majors. Damian's return brings up a lot of old baggage from these two fighters' life, and that Damian had been a fighter himself and had, in a lot of ways, unlocked that sport for Adonis. And now Damian is ready to reclaim some of the aspects of his career that he thinks have been stolen from him.
The internal growth, I think, is at its acme in this for Adonis. And so, as an actor approaching it, you look at the hero and what is the hero's journey and where is he going? And again, through conversation, we knew that this was going to be an intimate story about these two, actually about these two men, not this one guy coming across this man, but these two men and their own stories, their own legacies, their own dreams colliding and actually colliding. And so, yes, it is more intimate, but the saga of it is epic. You know, it's Greek. You know what we're discussing. It's tribal. There's social and blood currency, you know, within these two individuals, and so it is different in that way, and it is smaller in that way because it's something that we all deal with. You know, every human being deals with that. You have a sibling, and you know, by blood or maybe just by relationship, which is the case of Damian and Donnie.
Jonathan Majors is incredible. Phenomenal actor and person. His work ethic is something that I wanted to appeal to, you know, because I work pretty hard as well. So I think Jonathan just brought so much to the table. You know, he comes in, he's locked in, understanding his process, learning, you know, just not just the man, but how he likes to work. And that's another thing for me as a director, just learning the patience, learning to listen, you know, paying attention to all the details and the courtesies that I would want as an actor. So it really gave me an opportunity to step back and, you know, and really look outside myself, you know, and look at the overall vision and put myself last.
Majors is the kind of guy I described. When I first got to meet him, he's just like carved out of granite, you know what I mean? He's a granite person, like, he's focused, not just physically, he's spiritually focused. He's kind of always got his eye on the ball. And thankfully, when I got to meet him, he had already done all this work on his character before. He works inside out. So, you know, people will come and be impressed by the physical things that he brought to the role, but he's very much a performer who knows that the physical is a manifestation of the internal.
With creating this character in Damian was to put Adonis in the ring with the most personal opponent that he could possibly face. And that was, you know, what would be like fighting his brother.
The thing that separates Damian from, I think, the other canonical adversaries, one is that this script gives the opportunity for us to learn the villain and understand the villain. And in doing so, I had the gift of empathy. And you have that primarily because of the relationship between Adonis and Damian, that these guys, from the beginning, when they're boys and when you see us as men, you know these guys have a brotherly love, you know, like, and it's deep. You know, it's that friend.
One of the most exciting things about Creed 3 is the character of Mora. She was introduced in Stephen Cable's Creed 2, you know, towards this, in the second half of the film. It was very important to me in the first Creed to have certain elements of deaf culture, you know, in the film, and bringing Amora to life in the film is the young deaf actress, Mila Davis-Kent, who does a beautiful job, you know, representing that character, and I think audiences are really gonna fall in love with her.
Well, I feel like people will watch this film, especially those in the deaf community, and will say, look what this character went through. I went through the exact same thing. And so often deaf people are pushed aside or forgotten about, but we go through some really tough challenges. But we can still get through it. Even though it's hard and we have to struggle and fight, we can do it. And I think other people will notice that and say, deaf people are really our equals. They go through the same things we do.
I had never met Mila prior to this film. They, casting, picked her, and I honestly was a little bit uncertain because I wasn't sure of her signing style. And I wanted to make sure that it matched, you know? Mike and Tessa's, and as well as Miss Rashad's signing style. That they would be able to have a similar style and communicate as a family in the film. So when she showed up and I realized who they had cast and I saw the way she signed, she is just a brilliant person and sassy to the core. So when I met her, oh, I just loved working with her. I feel like she's my little sister at this point.
I love that this film touches on the idea of family. What is family? And all the different aspects of family. So you have here Adonis, and it's almost like he branches out to his boxing family, his family, and then his past. You know, it's like this beautiful mix. It's so layered. And I love the complex family dynamics that exist in each of these different branches. You know, his relationship with Dame, that's, you know, a complicated situation. Who doesn't have a complicated situation in a family? So I love the idea of family, and this set has been that as well.
Yeah, it's been tremendous to get to work with Mike as a director. You know, I love him so much. I think a relationship between an actor and a director at best is one that has a tremendous amount of trust and respect and admiration, but certainly trust. And we have that in spades just because we've been working together for so long and we know each other so well that there's this sort of unspoken understanding. And then it's just been really fun to watch how seamless he is with it, that he could be entirely in a scene. My favorite thing is that sometimes he won't yell cut. He'll just like very slyly do this, like while he's kind of still acting. And it took me a while to notice that he was doing it, and then I caught it and I was like, that is very smooth.
With Mike, you know, before I met him, I thought that he was kind of a tough guy. But then when I met him, he's so genuinely sweet and nice, very, very helpful, and just really caring as an individual, always asking me if I'm okay, if everything's all right. He just showed a lot of love toward me, and that made me feel really good on set. Having him as a director was nice. He always checked in to make me feel comfortable.
I felt so excited. I think also playing her mom, I just felt like such a stage mom watching her do so well. Like I'd just be across from her in scenes being like, she's killing it, you know? So I don't know, it was nice. I hadn't really had that experience. I mean, obviously, I'm proud of my scene partners. When someone does a great job, it feels good and it makes us all look good, it's great. But I think something about playing her mom and just feeling this sense of real maternal pride for her always.
We shot how many boxing fights? How many different ways? You know, how do you make this one different? How do you raise the bar and take it to the next level? Obviously, IMAX was one of those things. You know, shooting it at IMAX, just giving everybody that experience to make them feel like they're in the ring. You know, physically and and audibly. And then I think going back to the character of really realizing who Adonis is, but then also taking the action and making the fights grand and, leaning into the spectacle of the sport, of the pageantry of boxing. I think that was the fun part, was finding ways to keep it intimate and true to character and story, but then also how do we make this thing, how do we take some real big creative swings and take it to the next level?
So around 9:30, we would get together and do just training, lift weights, run, jump rope, work the bags. Sometimes I was with Clay, sometimes that was just me and Mike. Again, running, going through choreography, shadow boxing with weights, to build the muscle. A lot of core work, shirts are coming off, so it's gotta be right. There's that element to it. And then from there, there'd be script work or something like that, and then irregardless of what the day was, I would then go to my other gym and train. And that's when I would do what I thought I needed to do to be the best version of myself to play Dame.
I think the fight sequences, the fight scenes have been really challenging. And I'm so amazed at how it all comes together. 4 weeks for one particular fight, right? For whatever couple of minutes in a movie is a long time. But it's a long time because there's so much coverage. There's so much happening. It's not only the fighters, it's the corner, it's the family, it's us. But it was really wonderful to watch both Michael and Jonathan really get into their characters. Scary even at times. You forgot that you were watching two actors.
There's an intensity to Damian. I remember the first time me and Mike got in the ring to do it. Clay pulled me aside and said, "Hey, we don't have to go. You don't have to go that hard. You have to, that's the only way I know how to go." When you're going at that speed and you want to feel it, you want to feel it, And sometimes, me and Mike, we hauled off on each other, like body shots. We didn't lift all those weights and do it themselves for nothing.
I'm really proud to be playing the character that I'm playing because I'm playing myself, right? Which is kind of nice, and it's kind of a mind-blowing experience for me. I was just wrapping Jonathan Major's hands a while ago, and I told him that me being in this position is unbelievable. From where I came from, where I'm at now, the people I've been working with, it's been phenomenal, and it's a mind-blowing experience.
I think I was eager to learn, to kind of start from, not ground zero, but ground zero, in the sense of, directing. The humility of knowing that you've never done something before and ready to learn, but then also the confidence of being on set, for 20 years and having a understanding of what comes with the job. So being able to reach out to the community of directors that I'd never worked with, in a professional capacity, but were very open to me, from David O. Russell to Bradley Cooper to Denzel, Stephen Caple, Ryan Coogler, the list goes on. I've been blessed to have people who've done it once or twice, and especially from an actor-director perspective. And that was a challenge that I knew I had in front of me. So to be able to lean on them and be available for any questions that I've had, it was priceless.
It's very much like a big brother. They literally just let you run and put things in the way or move things out of the way to allow you to be you, And he just trusted so much, for whatever reason, that I was gonna do the job and I was the man for the job. And when you feel that trust, it makes you wanna put out. It's kind of weird to me how our chemistry works. Like we actually really like each other. You know what I mean? Like my tail starts wagging when I see him. I'm like, oh, what's up, man? You know, how you doing? You know, it's I feel like boyhood friends. You know, we could do anything. We play boxers together, soldiers together, police officers. There's just a kindred spirit, you know, which is so strange because we're so close in age, you know, and so alpha in our own ways, and both young men yet, you know, and so the merging of these kingdoms, the merging of this, it's a real collaboration, you know, where 1 + 1 = 3, or 1 + 1 = Creed.
I hope the audience not only are entertained, but are moved. There's so many beautiful moments in this film where it's not just about the boxing world. That's all great and it's exciting and it'll get you going, the adrenaline rush. But there's also so many beautiful relationships that are showcased, that are shown, that are really stellar.
You know, you learn things about a character that you thought you knew a lot about. So it's education. And I want you to, you know, walk away feeling good. You know, this is a movie that I want you to go home and think, you know, man, that was a ride. And also reflect inward on yourself and, you know, how can you be better?
Well, to sum it up, I think that this movie is really about family. A Black family, the Creed family, a family that boxes. And it really shows love in that family. Mike, who plays Adonis in the film, he faces a lot of different things. He faces his past, he faces his fears, but he never gives up. And his daughter, Amara, in the film is the same way. She learns those qualities from her mom and dad. And that makes Amara feel strong. She feels brave. And so this film is really about family.
I have a Hennessy cocktail recipe that I do. And all you do, you take, it's a Hennessy mule. You just take Hennessy, ginger beer, and lime, and you're in business. The same way you can take ginger beer and whiskey and lime. So like a whiskey mule, you can do a Hennessy mule. Delicious and effective.